Welcome to Student Connections, where students connect with their community.
Welcome to Student Connections. I'm Mike Gaffney, and today we'll meet three people active in the Marysville community. Mr. Dave Barbie is a realtor with O'Connor Realty. Mr. Mike Martin teaches choir at Marysville Public Schools, and Mr. Craig Hof served as the assistant boys soccer coach for our Vikings. Now, let's hear about Mr. Barbie's career in real estate.
Hello, and welcome to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station. Today, I'm here with Mr. Dave Barbie from O'Connor Realty. Thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here.
Now, O'Connor has been established in Marysville for quite some time now, but what sets O'Connor apart from other realty businesses?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we've been in business since 1971. We've been in this community since then, and we take pride in our community. It's a great city. It's a great town. We just, and that's what sets us apart, I believe.
And how long have you personally been a part of O'Connor?
I've been there almost 10 years now. It'll be actually 10 years next month. So, been enjoying it very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what is your exact title at O'Connor?
I'm a sales associate. I handle all sales and whatever comes in, any customer or whatever, that I take care of at that time.
Does O'Connor specialize in residential homes, businesses, land?
Yeah, we do. We specialize in homes, but of course we do have many vacant lands to build a home on. We do with commercial and industrial. We do pretty much all facets.
What qualifications does it take to become a realtor?
Well, it's not so much that there's qualifications, but what you have to go through to become a realtor. You have to have 40 hours worth of education, and then of course you have to go on with take a state exam for your license and whatnot. So to be true qualifications, there really isn't any, but it's just your being able to work with people mostly, and that helps out a lot.
That's cool that you have to have qualifications and not just anybody can
You have to have a lot of training. There's no doubt, and continuous training too for it. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure that makes it better for those first-time home buyers that aren't sure, what.
Absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
What are the best things about your job?
Oh, the best things. You can set your own schedule. You can do that. It works out very nicely. Sometimes you start at 7 or 8 in the morning, and you might go till 8, 9 o'clock at night. But you can also you can schedule your time so that you can, if you have children in school and that, you can be with them and spend some time with them, which is very important, obviously.
Of course. As a Marysville homegrown guy yourself, how do you network with clients?
Well, we do a lot of the internet is big time right now with networking. Of course, a lot of people in a small community like this, and I've been in here born and raised in Marysville, so I tend to know quite a few people. So that helps out a lot. So with people that and then plus their friends and whatnot and their family, and you do quite a bit of networking that way.
How does a relationship work with both representing buyers and sellers?
That's tough. Not too often that does happen where you represent both, but it does happen on occasion, and you have to make sure that it just is done fairly. Obviously, you represent both parties, and you got to make sure it's nice and fair at that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the fees associated with buying and selling a house?
Well, when you're buying a house, usually, it depends on what type of loan you have. You can go as little as 0 down for an RD loan, or 5% or 20% down for a conventional loan. It really depends on what type of loan you get. That determines the amount of money that you will need.
Very cool. All right, well, it's great having you here today, and we'll be right back with more from Dave Barbie from O'Connor Realty.
As a parent, hire a trusted friend or family member to watch your child. Make sure to ask if they have taken a babysitter safety course, and if not, encourage them to do so. Give your sitter important contact information such as your phone number and the number of your family doctor. As the sitter, make sure you are comfortable with the family and know what is expected of you. Clarify feeding directions with the parents and be aware of any food allergies. Make sure to be watching the child at all times and never leave them alone for long periods. If the child is sleeping, check on them every 15 minutes. In case of any emergencies, dial 911. For more information on babysitting safety and to learn where to take a babysitting basics course, log on to redcross.org.
Distracted driving is a well-known danger.
Yet we all bear the risk.
21% of teen drivers were distracted by the use of cell phones.
I probably shouldn't.
But you never know.
Maybe just a second. I probably shouldn't.
But you never know.
Maybe just a second.
Over 600,000 drivers are using electronic devices while driving. In 2011, over 3,000 people were killed in crashes involving a distracted driver. An additional 387,000 people were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving a distracted driver.
For more information on distracted driving, visit www.distraction.gov.
Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States is in need of blood. These people are in need of something so easy to find. It's the fact that only 3% of the population gives blood. One of the main reasons people give blood is to help others. This attitude supplies North America with 43,000 pints daily. Healthy people can donate a pint every 2 months, and the process only takes minutes. So go to the American Red Cross in Port Huron and donate a pint today, because every pint donated saves lives.
Welcome back to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station. Here today we have Mr. Dave Barbie from O'Connor Realty discussing the realty business and how that is going. Now, as far as developing prospective clients, how do you go about doing that?
Well, mainly what we do, a lot of it is advertising. I have done this year, I've actually done some footballs that the cheerleaders throw out to the crowd. That's one way, maybe an ad in the newspaper. And we do some networking, obviously, and whatnot to try to get prospective clients that way. But we also do have, when they call into our office and ask for an agent, that's also another way of getting new clients in that.
What do you think would be your most successful form of networking?
I would have to say advertising, mainly. We like to try and keep it for Marysville, mainly like the footballs like I have done this year. But then again, the advertising is also quite good in the Times-Herald.
As far as house showing and open houses, why are Sundays the most popular for that?
Well, mainly for the open homes that we do have on Sundays, it's because most of the people are available at that time to be able to see the home and take their time and actually go through it, instead of trying to catch that appointment maybe at night where they have to work late or whatever. It's difficult. So Sundays are much better for our clientele.
Are you seeing a lot of people move into the area looking for jobs recently?
I want to say probably within the last few years we have seen more people come into the area, mainly for businesses that have been coming up and getting much stronger, and also because of our school system. We tend to see that quite a bit now, that people are moving in for the school system itself.
Now, does the entire office do the advertisement, or is it more of each agent individually?
Well, we do, as an office, we do advertise, obviously. But, each individual agent can also do their advertising on their own, such as taking out the ad, or like the footballs that I have done, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, as far as the real estate economy, how is it rebounding from the economic recession?
It's rebounding quite nicely, actually. Probably within the last year or so, we've noticed a dramatic change starting to come up. A lot more houses are being sold. I would say probably right now our biggest problem is we don't have enough houses to sell. The inventory is quite low, and we just need more houses to sell, and we can do that.
That's almost a good problem to have.
Well, when you have the customers to do that, want to buy,
right,
it's tough right now to try and find them something that they do like.
Right. Are you seeing the foreclosures of homes slowing down?
They're slowing down quite a bit, actually. Compared to like 3 years ago, it's a dramatic change.
And has the changes in banking and finance changed how people buy houses?
Yes, it's changed it quite a bit. Right now, what we have to protect on is the appraisal of the home, which that the bank feels is the value. That's probably our hardest obstacle at this time to overcome, is that.
What advice would you give to a home seller, to improve so that they could make their home more wanted to be bought?
I would say, the old saying of like a new mailbox or new house letters, those are always real nice because that's one of the first things people see is the front of the home. Keep your lawn up, your shrubbery and whatnot, all nicely trimmed in that. Also, try in the home to make your house look as big as possible. Try and remove the clutter and whatnot. That's probably your best bets.
And as far as just simple home improvements, what kind of?
Well, it depends on what type of improvements. This is where your realtor will, you should ask your realtor at that time what improvements you should make, because sometimes maybe you might spend too much money on the improvements and you won't get that back out of the house, where just maybe a little bit of painting here or there will make a drastic improvement.
As far as like remodeling a bathroom or something of that nature, should the seller remodel it themselves or just not worry about it and let the buyer worry about that and remodel it themselves?
Well, it depends, because bathrooms and kitchens are what really make a home. They're also the most expensive to take care of too, and that's the problem here lies. And that's when you could talk to your agent, see what their feelings are, and go from there. Maybe just a little bit of a tile placement or fix this or fix that could make a drastic improvement.
And what kind of advice would you give to people looking to buy a home?
My first advice would be to get pre-approved for your loan. I've had some customers where they haven't been and they felt that they knew how much they could afford. We find a house, they love it, they fall in love, and find out then when they go get a loan that they can't afford it because they just, it just is a little too expensive for them, and then they're very, very disappointed at that time. So your best bet is to get pre-approved.
And then going back to the advertisement, do you think that the footballs are a good thing?
I hope so, to be honest with you. I remember when they used to do it a few years ago, and I've noticed that they hadn't been doing it, or anybody had been doing it. So I thought I would try it this year, and I will do it again next year. And I'm also opened up to other ideas for other sports here in the school, for other things like that. So.
All right, well, great. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Mm-hmm. We'll be right back for more after this.
There are lots of unmet needs out here, and while I can't change everything, I can change some things. So I stepped up and became an American Legion Auxiliary Volunteer. For nearly 100 years, they've been helping our veterans, military, and their families here and abroad. Military deployment can be tough on a family, so we do what we can to help. And every injured and homeless veteran deserves the compassion we can give them.
Well, we are here to help.
Plus, we also have programs to teach our youth how to be good citizens and young women how to be leaders at ALA Girls State.
America.
I wanted to give back like the other 800,000 American Legion Auxiliary volunteers. There's history here. Patriotism, pride, open arms. It doesn't take much time to make a difference. Will you join me and please step up to help our country's heroes and their families? Call the number to volunteer today.
Sounds like the real estate market is getting stronger. Now, let's hear about what the Marysville High School Choir has planned this year.
Hello and welcome to Student Connections here on M6, your hometown station. I'm your host, Kara Viskarner, and here with me today is Mr. Martin, Director of the Marysville High School Choirs. Hello, Mr. Martin.
Good morning.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the senior play this year. I hear it's Alice versus Wonderland.
It is.
So what is the play about this year?
The play is about the story of Alice, and it kind of mirrors the same Lewis Carroll's story of Alice in Wonderland, but this one throws kind of a teen spin on it, and Alice gets sucked into Wonderland, and she's having kind of a teen identity crisis. So there's actually a few different girls that play the character of Alice, depending on what kind of identity she's going through at the moment. So.
So how did the auditions go this year?
They went great. It was really neat to see some of the kids I hadn't seen before come down and audition. We have a section in our audition where the kids have to improvise acting, and that's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's not scripted. They have to act out the scene right then and there.
So who are the people playing Alice's different personalities?
We casted 3 different girls as Alice: Katie Durham, Ashley Hall, and Cassie Dickinson as the Alice.
That's great. So what kind of backstage help will you need?
The sets are pretty minimal, but we'll still need people backstage to help bring on any set pieces or props that happen to come up in the play.
And so, like, when can students sign up to work backstage?
If they check the boards outside the media center, I'll post some dates and some information out there for them to see.
What are the dates and like the times for the performances this year?
Performances are December 12th and 13th. We're giving 2 performances for the student body, and then there's evening performances starting at 7 o'clock.
So you definitely always have a chance to see it.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then, so now we're going to go into a little bit about the choir. I hear you guys have a big winter concert coming up.
We do. December 16th is our next big winter concert.
So what type of music will we be seeing there?
Well, it's more on the Christmas nature of, some carols, some nice winter songs. I wanted it to be kind of a feel-good concert for the season, because I like that season. I think it's good for families to come. Everybody's welcome to come.
Yeah. So how is it different than other concerts?
It's not as showy this time. It's more of a stand up and enjoy the music type of performance, whereas our first performance was all about Broadway and show tunes, where the kids really got into it and acted out the parts. This time it's more about the tone quality and singing and the harmonies created by some of the winter music we're doing.
So you guys always wear black during your concerts. Do you try to plan on wearing ugly sweaters since it's Christmas time?
We'll see about this one. This one actually we're going to do black on the bottom, and we'll have red and silver and gold kind of mixed up to make it look a little different, right?
Yep. So I hear that you have a tradition for every winter concert. So how do you prepare during classes for the concerts?
Well, the tradition is Carol the Bells, and I got started when I first got here. We did Carol the Bells, and then the next year the students wanted to do it again, and by the 3rd and 4th year it became a tradition. And the tradition is at the end of the concert. It's the very last song, and we invite past choir members on stage to sing with us. Yeah.
So how do you select students for solos?
I hold auditions during class, so everybody's able to hear what we're capable of doing. And then I try to mix it up so that everybody has a chance to do something special.
Definitely. So now we're going to go into a little bit about the musical this year.
Sure.
So have you thought about what musical you want to do this spring?
We have. We haven't nailed it down yet. And the challenge comes in, we take a look at the student body, we take a look at the seniors, what we've done in the past, and it's kind of a balancing act of types of shows. You have your funny shows. Last year we did Joseph, and it was all music, and there's no dialogue. So this year we're going to pick a show that has both music and dialogue. But you also take a look at the people who might go out, for the roles. And this year's senior class is a strong senior class. So there's not, we have lots of really strong characters that we have to choose from.
So how do you decide on the type of musical to present? Is it with the seniors and everything? Yeah,
just like I said, a bunch of different factors go into it based on past musicals. We don't want to do a bunch of serious ones all in a row. At the same time, we want to, if we do all old ones, then that, we need a little diversity in the types of musicals that we pick. And of course, we take a look at who we have in our programs and in the school, and we really try to tailor it to what the kids are able to accomplish.
And you definitely want to put on a musical that everybody's going to enjoy and kind of be able to sing along to and everything.
Yep.
So what are the costs associated with buying the rights or play to a musical?
Well, you have to apply for the rights. And last year, for example, last year's play Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, I think the rights were about $3,000.
Wow.
And that various numbers go into that, the size of the theater, the number of shows you're going to do. That's just to do the show.
Yeah.
Just the rights to put on it. And then you have costs above that, set costs, re-rented backdrops, and there's companies that rent out the big curtains and the big backdrops to make it look really neat. So yeah, those costs elevate throughout the show, but you try to balance it out with your ticket sales and the people coming in. But in the end, it's a lot of fun, and as long as the cast has fun and we have fun and the audience has fun, then we think we've done our job.
I know I definitely love always going and watching the musical, with Joseph, and then I remember going and seeing Bye Bye Birdie and Anything Goes. So it's always a fun time.
It is. We have a great time with it.
So who
Yeah.
can participate in the musical?
Anybody. It's open to anybody. Freshmen on up to seniors.
So
Yep.
I know that like some people aren't really good singers, but they still want to do the musical. Are there like speaking and singing parts?
Sometimes there are, yep. And even if you're not a solo person by nature, we always need lots of chorus members,
Yeah.
and extras, and you want to be involved in the play, but maybe you're not a on-stage person. We definitely need lots of help for the musical backstage. There's always big set pieces and different things going on backstage as well.
So what other kind of like help do you need backstage?
Well, like I said, moving set pieces on and off. We need people to help, paint and build the sets.
Yeah.
We need people to do props during the show.
When is it important for the students to get involved in the musical?
Right away, we'll have auditions right before Christmas break. And like I said, I'll put a notice outside the media center so kids can check the board for audition times and the roles in the musical that we'll be doing, so they can prepare in advance.
So I
know
hear
a
you
little bit
guys
about
have
it.
a big New York trip coming up.
We do,
So
yes.
when do you plan on taking this trip?
It's April 30th to May 4th.
And why did you choose this time to go?
Well, it's after prom, and it's before the AP test, so you kind of have to balance it with the school curriculum calendar and the social calendar. And it's also warm enough where we don't feel like we might freeze out in New York. But
So why did you plan to go to New York this year instead of somewhere else?
well, give the kids a new experience. We went to Chicago 2 years ago, and that was great.
Yeah.
New York is just an icon of America, and very few of us, including myself, have never been to New York. So I wanted to give the kids an opportunity to go to a place that they've never been.
Wow.
Such as, like New York City. It's
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
It's amazing.
And there's so much to do there.
Right.
So about how many students do you have going this year?
About 65 students going this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice number, and I've got about 35 chaperones on top of that going.
So how do you as a teacher plan a trip for over 100 people?
I call a tour company. I say, help me out. That's how I help plan. I end up working for a good year and a half prior to our trip with the tour company to nail down an itinerary, cost, events that we're going to go do and see, and sites and everything. And so it takes about a year and a half to really solidify that agenda that we're going to do. But in the end, we try to make a good product for the kids and just an amazing experience for them.
Definitely. So what are some of the things that you're planning on doing in New York this year?
Well, we'll do your typical Statue of Liberty, Staten Island tour. We'll go see the Empire State Building. We're going to go see a musical. We're going to eat at some pretty neat restaurants down there. One of the cool things we're going to be able to do is go see the 9/11 Memorial.
Oh, wow.
Right down there.
Yeah.
Spend a little time on Times Square shopping and seeing the sights.
Yep.
We have a chance to perform in a couple cathedrals. A cool thing for the kids is that we have a chance to go to a Broadway workshop, and this workshop's usually run by on Broadway stars. And so what they'll do is they'll teach us some music and some dance steps and some choreography and perform a little bit right there in our workshop. So it's pretty cool for the kids to see.
That would be. And so are you guys, you said that you were performing at like some of the cathedrals. So are the kids pretty excited about performing in New York City?
They are.
Yeah.
Yep, some of the music that I'll pick out will be tailored to that cathedral type of sound.
Yeah.
Renaissance, Baroque style music. So it should be pretty fun.
That sounds so exciting. That's so cool. That's not like an experience that everybody gets to say, well, I went to New York, my high school, in high school. So it's really cool.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good luck with you.
Thank you.
And your senior play. And we'll be back with more after this.
According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, nearly 2/3 of sexual assaults occur at night. However, this number can be reduced by learning some easy-to-follow nighttime safety tips. Keep a cell phone, flashlight, and some form of ID on you at all times, especially at night, but don't carry a lot of money or valuables. If you're walking or running, plan your route and let others know where you're going. Try your best not to go out alone. Avoid unpopulated or poorly lit areas. If you feel like you're being followed, find a well-populated area or go into a public building. Park in a well-lit area. If you notice any suspicious activity, call the police and find a safe place immediately. By following these rules, your nighttime travels can be safe and enjoyable.
You may be eligible for a credit on your electric bill if you experience lengthy or frequent service outages. To request the $25 credit, contact your electricity provider. For more information about the credit and tips for surviving power outages, call the Michigan Public Service Commission at 1-800-292-9555 or visit their website at michigan.gov/MPSC and click on Consumer Information. A public service message from the Michigan Public Service Commission.
Hello and welcome back to Student Connections. We're here with Mr. Martin and we were just talking about the New York trip and the choirs. So let's talk a little bit about you for a second. So how long have you been a choir teacher?
I've been a choir teacher for 13 years.
Wow. So what's your typical day like?
A typical day starts at the high school at 8 o'clock, and I do a women's choir and the concert choir. Then I have a little break for lunch and really gear up to teach the middle school kids in the afternoon. And I have 2 7th and 8th grade choirs over there, and I have a midday with a 6th grade choir.
So I hear there's a group called the Varsity Singers. What's that like?
Yeah, well, it's an audition group after school, and it's for those kids that really want to excel at music and need something more during their school day that's a little higher level achieving. And so we hold auditions each semester, and we rehearse 2 days a week, and we get to do some different music, some a cappella music that's meant for a smaller group. It's pretty neat. It's a lot of fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. So have you had any students go on to a career in choir?
I have. Actually, just this past year, Neil Jansen, I went over to Western, and he's a music education major over there, and he's pursuing a career in music. So it's pretty neat that when you have a kid that goes into the same career as your own career at the current time, it's pretty neat.
So have you had any guest speakers or students come back and talk to your choirs?
That's something I like to do, to incorporate. Now that I've been here for a little bit, some of the kids will start coming back, and it'd be great, like I said, to have Neil come back and talk to the kids about careers in music and what that means and different colleges and what the programs have to offer.
So what's your favorite type of music, and how do you incorporate that into your shows?
My favorite I like all kinds of music. It depends on the mood I'm in, just like everybody else. I'll listen to everything from Bruno Mars to an amazing Renaissance piece. So it really depends on the mood.
So you like to have a lot of fun with the songs you pick?
Yes. Yeah, I like to try to give a lot of variety. So there's something for everybody.
So where did you personally go to school, and what did you study there?
I went to Western, and I studied music education over there. I was in a really cool group called the Gold Company, and it's a vocal jazz group, which is kind of neat. It was that's kind of really took my musical ears in different directions, and I think it's had a really big impact on me. And then from there, I taught at Battle Creek Central High School for a little bit, and moved to Ann Arbor and taught there. Then just kind of made our way up to 94, and then came up to Marysville.
Wow. So I hear your family's really involved into music, like your wife and your in-laws. So how is that?
It's a lot of fun. My wife teaches music over at Gardens Elementary, and my in-laws have a quartet called Double Date, and it's a barbershop style quartet, and they do gigs all around Marysville, Port Huron. They've even gone up to Port Austin up there.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know your in-laws have been in to perform for us this year. And will they be back for more?
I haven't lined them up yet, but I'd like to get them back in here. It's always great to see that, hey, music doesn't stop once you leave high school.
Exactly.
And you don't have to be a music major either to be involved with it. You can do it at any age, any time.
Yeah. So if the student can't fit choir into their schedule academically, can they still get involved in Varsity Singers or music in other ways?
Varsity Singers is an extension of the choir program. So, the basic skills we work on every day in choir are kind of extended into the Varsity Singers program. So unfortunately, no, you have to be in choir or band to be in Varsity Singers, because it's kind of like I said, it's an extension of what we do during the school day into the afternoon.
Wow, that sounds like a great program, and we wish you great luck this year.
Well, thank you.
And we'll be back with more after this.
Cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is defined as a person tormenting, threatening, harassing, and/or embarrassing another person using the internet or other technology like cell phones. 43% of kids have been bullied online. 1 in 4 have been bullied multiple times. 80% of kids use cell phones, making it the most common medium for cyberbullying. 70% of kids see frequent cyberbullying on some sort of technology. 90% of kids that get cyberbullied say they ignore it. Only 1 out of 10 kids report cyberbullying to their parents or to a trusted adult. If you see cyberbullying, report it. It could save a life. For more important information, please visit DoSomething.org to get involved.
Sounds like the choir will be keeping busy. Our Viking boys soccer team had a very successful season this fall. Assistant coach Craig Hof reflects on the season with Kara Biskarner.
Hello, and welcome to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station. I'm your host, Brooke Bennett, here with varsity soccer coach Craig Hof. How are you doing today, Craig?
Brooke, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So tell us, how is coaching different than playing?
I actually graduated 2 years ago, and let me just say that coaching's very different from playing. You know, when you're a player, you're kind of concerned with your play and your contributions to the team. But as a coach, it's really your responsibility to ensure that every player on your roster, and particularly the 11 that are playing on the field, can really gel as a team and get you the results that you want.
So how do you affect the team with your coaching style?
I'd kind of like to think of myself as a motivator, but I'm also very passionate about the game, which leads me to yell a lot. You know I kind of demand excellence and command respect, but I'd like to think that I have a good rapport with a lot of the players. In that, you know, we have a good relationship and I ensure that all the players work hard. And, you know, I tell them I'll do whatever they can for me, or if they do whatever they can for me, I'll help them back.
That's really great. So is there a different view on the sidelines?
Oh, without a doubt. You know, we actually had one of our players, he was very unfortunate. He actually incurred a concussion during one of our matches. And he came out of the game and he sat for actually 2 of our games. And he came up to me and he said, you know, Coach, it's really weird seeing the style of play when you're on the sidelines, because he had started every game. And he just said it's very interesting to see sort of how the game plays out when you're on the sidelines. So yeah, for sure.
So do you and the head coach have the same philosophies?
I would say for the most part, we sort of certainly handle situations differently. For instance, one of my primary emphases is on tactics, both defensive and offensive, and kind of getting the team to gel together, whereas she is very good at finding which players can play which spot.
So I know you were undefeated for a while. Did that help with your coaching, or did it make it harder on you?
I'd say it was a combination of both. It led to the team being very confident, but at the same time, it sort of changed our style of play. For a while there, we were playing very defensive, not necessarily creating a lot of offensive pressure because we wanted to keep that streak going.
Mm-hmm.
So it was difficult in that sense, but at the same time, a lot of the players were really happy and played with a lot of confidence.
So what would you say was the best part about that streak?
I think just the kids having fun. I think they realized that it was a really good accomplishment, and they played great, and it was just kind of uplifting for everybody.
Yeah, that's really great. So what would you say would be the biggest improvement to the team?
Biggest improvement. I've seen quite a bit of improvement. I think we're playing as a team, we're playing much better. Getting all 22 players on our roster to play together.
Mm-hmm.
Our defensive line looks great. We sort of moved things around in the midfield for better transition as well as speed up top. So we've improved in a lot of areas.
What would you say the team would need to fix the most? Is there one certain thing, or?
I wouldn't say there's necessarily one certain thing. I think I'd like to see more consistent play out of everybody. Sometimes we're very streaky, and I think if we can fix that consistency problem, we'll be a very good team.
So I heard there is a foreign exchange student on the team. How does that help with the team?
Torgay's a really good kid. He's a really nice kid. He's very fun to work with. Soccer's unique in that styles change all across the world because, as you know, it's a very popular sport across the world. So he was familiar with it, but the difficulty was trying to educate him on the various positions and sort of how we played. We play with a very unique lineup, which actually isn't found much anywhere, either in high school, college, or professional soccer programs. So getting him to adjust to our style of play was difficult, but he's a great kid and he puts a lot into the team and plays with great effort. So,
how would you say he's helped the team?
He's very quick and he's very good with the ball on his foot. He's a very talented striker, so having him up top with his pace and his ball control has helped us a lot.
What is the biggest test coming up in the season?
We actually play Centerline. Centerline is part of our MAC Gold, so they're part of our division. And we've yet to play them this year. So we actually play Centerline 3 times within, I think it's 4 games, which is kind of hard because when you're playing people back to back to back like that, they understand sort of your style of play, they understand who your better players are, so it's easier for them to kind of counter what it is we want to do.
Was that the team you were saying you were playing in districts?
Yes, we play them the first round of districts as well.
Okay. So who are the leaders of the team?
We have a lot of seniors. I think counting Torge, who's the German foreign exchange student, we actually have 12 seniors on the team. And I think really every senior sort of brings something to the table that makes them a natural born leader. All three of our captains are actually seniors. Our goalkeeper, Brandon Roski, great goalkeeper, he's a leader. So I wouldn't say there's necessarily one leader, but the leadership traits are certainly spread around all 12 senior individuals.
How are the seniors of the team helping out the younger players?
I know I mentioned earlier that I'm kind of a motivational coach, at least I like to think so, but something I tell the guys on the team, as a coach, I can't motivate you. You're responsible for your own motivation and your teammates sort of helping you with that. I think the seniors always bring something to the table, not just for soccer, but for any sport. I know I kind of mentioned this with motivation, but in terms of playing style or playing whatever sport it is you play, a coach can only teach you so much. I think the seniors sort of teach the younger players what it is to contribute to a team and how to play it, how to be a great teammate, how to focus on school while also excelling at your sport. So I think the seniors, like I said, not just with soccer, but with any sport, really play a vital role in that they're a leader, that they just know how to play the game and they know how to give effort and they know just really where they belong in their sort of small sport community.
Since they help out the younger players, do you think they'll have maybe an impact on the future teams too, since they're helping out the younger players?
I think so. We're losing 12 seniors, which will be a sort of a big hit to the program. But I think every player sort of leaves a lasting impact. When I played, I know there were certain players that taught me certain things that kind of stuck with me in terms of both play style but attitude. So it's tough to see 12 seniors walk away, but it's nice to know that each senior leaves a certain part of them with the program. So I'd like to think that these younger players take something away from that.
I totally agree with you. We'll be back after this break.
In order to beat breast cancer, I knew I would have to lose my breasts. But to reclaim my life, I chose breast reconstruction.
Each year, nearly 150,000 women will learn they will undergo a mastectomy due to breast cancer. But 7 out of 10 women are never told about their breast reconstruction options, and the numbers are even worse for minorities. That needs to change.
This living can't be called living if it's really only half a life. She's a flower that grows despite cement walls, and she will survive. She will survive.
I wrote the song Flower to raise awareness of this important issue. Breast reconstruction is a very important part of the healing process, both physically and emotionally, and all women should know their reconstruction options. Download my song Flower to share the message and help us share the knowledge that women can feel whole again.
They've stormed beaches and freed countries. They've raised our flag and our hope. They've been called leathernecks. They've been called devil dogs. But above all, they're called Marines.
Hello, and welcome back to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station. I'm your host, Brooke Bennett, still here with Craig Hope. So Craig, tell me, how has your past coaching experience helped you with the coaching?
Well, not only coaching, but with playing. I started playing when I was 4 or 5 years old, had various coaches, and I think when I was about 8 years old, my head coach was actually the woman, Coach Dykstra, who coaches the current varsity program. So she taught me for a lot of years, and eventually she left to come here to Marysville High School to coach. I started coaching when I was, I think, a junior or senior in high school. I was coaching youth level, co-ed. So I was teaching like 8 to 12-year-old boys and girls. That's really where a lot of my experience came from. I think it's interesting in that with younger kids, you sort of have to have more patience, which for me, that's something I'm always continually working on. I'm not the most patient person. So it's kind of nice to make the adjustment from younger to older kids. But I played, like I said, I played since I was 4. So bringing what I played into what I coached was easy, in that I always kind of understood the tactics of things and how players wanted to play and how they should execute themselves. So that helped. When I graduated, Coach Dykstra knew I was staying local, attending St. Clair County Community College. So she asked if I'd be interested in helping out the program. I said I was because I didn't have much going on apart from work and school, and I love to stay active. That's my type A personality. So I came on board, and it essentially went from helping to be a full-time assistant coach, which was awesome. I absolutely love it. It keeps me busy, and I'm continually learning. On top of that, I'm also a nationally certified referee. I typically just ref around Southeast Michigan, anywhere from young kids to older kids. It helps in that, obviously I have to understand the rules to referee. So I sort of bring that coaching experience on the sideline. Sometimes I think it leads me to get a little fiery when I think a decision should go the other way. But at the same time, I'm getting better at it. I realize everybody makes mistakes, including myself. So it's sort of a continual progression. I know we were at practice last night and we were practicing penalty kicks in case we had to use them in districts. And my keeper made a comment to me how last year a referee instructed him to do a certain thing on a penalty kick. Well, that certain thing was not illegal while our keeper was instructed that it was. So I told him, do your thing. If there's an issue and it comes up, just have him come talk to me about it. So it's nice to insert that experience into coaching because I think it sort of diversifies your base, if you will.
That's great. So I understand you coach the girls team too. Is there key differences between the girls and the boys soccer team?
I would certainly say there is. One thing I've noticed, and this is at all levels of women's soccer, both high school, college, and professional, and I think there'd be a lot of people that agree with me. I think ladies or women play with much more intensity. I don't know if it's because they're more emotionally involved in the game, but I notice they go much harder in terms of they take harder tackles, they're much more fierce. I think guys sort of play, I don't necessarily want to say smarter, but I think they play more reserved, which I kind of enjoy seeing the differences between the game. I was watching an American professional women's game, and I was sort of applying it to international games, but also local high school. And it just seemed the intensity was very high, both in terms of being very aggressive, but also maybe taking some tackles that shouldn't be taken. So I'd say that's probably the key difference.
Does the practices look different for girls and boys?
I would say yes and no. There's sort of 6 basic philosophies that we apply to coaching. So obviously those philosophies, apply to both girls and guys. So practices a lot of the time look the same, apart from the fact that I would definitely agree that girls are more intense.
So obviously you like soccer, so tell me a little bit about the World Cup.
The World Cup coming up in 2014, I'm really excited. It's going to be in Brazil, so the weather's going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of people on hand. The last one was obviously in South Africa. So I am very excited. The United States looks like they're going to have a really great position, and they're setting themselves up for success, which is great. I don't want to say the United States program's been slipping sort of in the past probably 10 years, but they recently had a change of coaching. Well, not recently, but I think within the last year and a half. They brought in Jürgen Klinsmann. He's a German. He's done a really great job with the program. For a while there, the United States was just clearing up their CONCACAF League, which is what you have to win to qualify for the World Cup. So we've officially qualified now. We've got a really good roster. We're bringing in good talent for the World Cup. So I think you're going to see the United States progress far into the Cup this year, and I think we're going to see them play with a certain style and a certain aggression, a certain tactility we haven't seen out of them before, at least not within the last 10 or 15 years.
So in your opinion, who do you think will win the World Cup?
In my opinion, who's going to win the World Cup? That's a tough call. Spain brings a very good team to the table every year. Belgium looking really good. I know they're kind of, I don't necessarily want to say an underdog. I think they're currently ranked 6th in the world standings, but they have a good team, and I think you'll see them really progress this year. I'm a big Italy fan myself. I love the team the Italians bring forward. I think they'll be very successful. When it comes down to it, I think you're going to see Spain and Italy in the final. So much like happened in the European Championship. So
I'll have to watch it.
You will. It's very interesting. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, so let's talk about your coaching again. So what is your biggest challenge, would you say, as being a coach?
Biggest challenge as a coach? That's a tough one. I think wanting to continually progress, both as a coach, watching players progress individually and as a team, making adjustments to how certain teams are throwing different styles at you. I think that's always going to be the biggest challenge for everyone, kind of making those adjustments.
What is your biggest reward?
Biggest reward? Obviously team success, but I also love seeing kids excel. That's awesome. I know I have friends that I played with, they're now playing at college. And I think that's sort of rewarding personally, but it's also rewarding for a coach to say, hey, you know, I'm a college athlete, or hey, I coached a college athlete.
So with all the injuries in football, do you think soccer will replace it as the top sport?
That's a tough question. I know there's been a lot of emphasis on the injuries that occur in football. I know the NFL's done a lot to sort of make players tackle lower, which I think you're going to see an increased number of knee injuries now. I know in terms of participation in soccer for youth, it's continually increasing, which is great to see because I obviously love soccer and youth are the future of the sport. At the same time, we've seen a highly increased number in concussions in soccer, which is sort of a sad statistic. But the good thing about it is we're raising a lot more awareness. You'll see a lot of players wearing more appropriate gear in terms of headgear. It's almost like a rubber shielded helmet or headband. I know probably 3 or 4 soccer athletes within the last year that have sustained concussions. I know when I played, I actually sustained one myself. So concussions are very prevalent, but both international bodies and national bodies of soccer committees are doing all they can to raise awareness and prevent these injuries from the game.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, Craig.
Brooke, thanks for having me. It was great to be back in M6.
I'm your host, Brooke Bennett, and this has been Student Connections on M6, your hometown station.
Distracted driving is a well-known danger.
Yet we all bear the risk.
.21% of teen drivers were distracted by the use of cell phones.
I probably shouldn't.
But you never know.
Maybe just a second. I probably shouldn't.
But you never know.
Maybe just a second.
Over 600,000 drivers are using electronic devices while driving. In 2011, over 3,000 people were killed in crashes involving a distracted driver. An additional 387,000 people were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving a distracted driver.
For more information on distracted driving, visit www.distraction.gov.
Being a gold medalist skier requires a lot of hard work, intense training, and time outside on the mountain. But taking care of my skin is easy and doesn't affect my performance. Every day I apply sunscreen and wear protective gear. I know protecting my skin will help prevent skin cancer and avoid wrinkles. I get my skin checked regularly by a dermatologist. 1 in 5 Americans will develop some form of skin cancer in their lifetime. My name is Julia Mancuso and I'm wearing orange to help put a spotlight on skin cancer.
Congratulations to our soccer team. We would like to thank all 3 of our guests for coming into the studio. Be sure to join us again next time for Student Connections on M6, your hometown station.